So my name is Siki Junta, and I do cloud computing at CSC, and I am sharing this presentation with my colleague, Jay Noble. Jay is our resident PaaS expert and tennis coach, too. So let's talk a little bit about cloud. I mean, I don't think I need to explain to you that cloud is something that it's happening. What I'm going to try to do in this presentation is just give you some idea of what we see as CSC and what our customers are doing, a little bit of what we think it's a cool part of clouds, and some techniques. And that's, I think, all we have for an hour. But it's a big market, and everybody, including our CEO, likes $150 billion in 2013. I hope he doesn't want my quota to go that way. And but that's I think that's what we all know is a big thing. So what are the things that you can expect from the cloud? Everybody talk about cost reductions, and I think that virtualization already has given us a little bit of a taste of cost reduction there. But let's say that there is a lot of numbers that are being flown around a lot of expectation, and some are unrealistic. You know, I don't think 70% is realistic. I can tell you that doing virtualization and doing infrastructure as a service, you might get up to 20%. I think the use of multiple cloud vectors, the ability to refactor, reconstruct your business process is going to give you a much higher return on investment of that. The enablers, and I think the secret piece of the cloud that is going to make transformational is really the use of platforms, because infrastructure as a service, spinning VMs on a certain time, it is okay, but I don't think it's going to dramatically change the economics of clouds and what we do with cloud. I think we will have to take a business transformation approach to be able to get the maximum benefits. The last thing that you can expect and you should demand, and our customers are demanding, any type of pay as you go. What does it mean, pay as you go? Is this definition that I will only use what I need, and only by a certain number of users, by a certain number of time, and by a certain number of capacity. That's the real differentiator of cloud from any type of hosting or grid that you have. And it should be easy to get to that point. So let me give you some checklist. First, let's tackle the hard ones, is security. I think that personally, I've done cloud enough to know that actually it's a fairly secure delivery mechanisms, but you have to really check the data, check where interaction with the user. You have to pay a special attention, especially if you are in a federation vectors or if you are in a multi-cloud environment. And we'll give you some idea of techniques that we have. The other one is if you think that cloud is just a bunch of VM or storage, as I said, it's a small part of it and it's kind of getting commoditized. At CSC, we have this approach that we take a top-down approach. The best way, the fastest way, the most cost-effective way is to select your workload and come down and create this relationship from bare metal to the end user so that you can understand these workloads, which is the best delivery in the cloud mechanism, and do I need to transform it or not? And obviously, I would suggest to everybody, pick the easy pickings first, and then get the one that are a bit more complicated. And we will give you an idea how we can do that. The second one is create a roadmap, because not everything can be cloud straight away. People has this idea that, I got cloud, I can cloud anything. You cannot really cloud everything or anything. A business process to be cloud, it needs to be architected and understood. So the idea is to be able to divide your park and decide in year 1, I'm going to achieve this. In year 2, I'm going to achieve this. In year 3, I'm going to achieve another percentage. There is a lot of numbers that they get thrown about. One number is in the net, how much cloud enterprise we'll have by 2020. And there is the camp that says 50-50, and I belong to that camp. Or there is camp that are more aggressive, and obviously there are always the guys that don't believe it's going to happen. But to get there, we have to have a map, and the map is best created from a workload point of view. The other thing is that it's a trap that sometimes people says, yes, I'm going to do cloud, but I'm only going to do private clouds. Limiting the delivery vectors actually reduces the ROI you can get, because obviously public cloud is, let's say, less expensive and private cloud is the most expensive. And if you want to divide your park of workloads in the best, most cost-effective way, you have to maintain all the delivery vectors in check and in your plans. I think the workloads, again, is your guide. It's a lot easier sometimes to say, I'm just going to do compute, and that's going to be my cloud. But then I think we are all missing the biggest revolutionary that can bring the cloud. And last, there shall be transformation in your applications, because again, there are commodity cloud workloads that can be deployed straight away, but I can bet there are only probably 15 to 20% that you have today. There are others that we will have to separate the logical layer to the infrastructure layer through create agility. And in all terms is coming back, and that's the term of refactoring. And that's, to me, the best place for us to do return on investment and to modernize IT for our customers. So let's talk about these delivery vectors and what people are using. I think that public cloud, we all know it. We all know it and love it. And everybody thinks about Amazon, Terramark, CSC. We actually deliver public, private, hybrid, and we're working on a couple of community clouds, and that's a very interesting delivery vector. But it is always at a client side, and is probably in its lowest service level, being bronze, the one that is the most cost-effective way to deliver infrastructure, at least. Obviously, the more you pile service on, the more it gets expensive. You have community cloud, and this is a group of company that either belong to the same industry or have application in commons, and they decide to share capacity and share bursting right on each other. They have normally the same security concern and construct. Hybrid, it's very common. I think the hybrid model is the model that we will see the most propagate in a steady state of cloud. The moment that we are able to separate very easily our logic and our end user from our data model and our infrastructure, you will find that running apps in your data center only just takes space for your data growth. But there is not every workload are ready for every cloud. The risk profile of each workload is a really important analysis, and always come down to the data and where is the data and how access the data. But there are a lot of techniques that you can apply today, from encryptions to tunneling to VPN dedicated ports and so on, where you can actually have the data in your side. And the data doesn't need to travel. You can have some really good virtualization, data virtualization techniques today where the data actually doesn't travel. You just travel metadata. And obviously the private cloud. And this is, I want all my compute and storage and application in the same pool, and I will provided to my end user on demand. And there are a lot of customers. I worked on the last 3 years on some of the most advanced financial institution, retail company, healthcare, and they are in a 30% of my production environment by 2011 or 2010. Some of them will be on a private cloud. What can you expect? Obviously, in a public cloud is total agility. You know, I want it now, I want it for 1 hour, I don't want it tomorrow. And by the way, it's not, that's cost effective to buy something for an hour, but if you want to, go ahead, my friends. And but then as you go, sometimes you have clouds that get less elastic, but you get more resilient on the SLA. Now we come to the top of the clouds, and there is the big argument of tenancy and non-tenancy. I personally believe that clouds should be multi-tenant. And only multi-tenancy gives you the best performance and integration interaction through to your infrastructure layer. That's the only one. People believe the multi-tenant applications are less secure. I actually don't believe so, because the moment that you built a multi-tenant application, you will make sure that the data structure and the interaction between the user, the app, is on table, and what is the result is very, very segregated. And I think the software vendor that just want to tell you the single tenant is okay is just because they don't want to do the hard work. It's time to eat your broccoli and rewrite the dumb application in a way that can be modern and agile. It's very hard to have an agile application if it's not a multi-tenant application. At CSC, we believe in multi-tenant application. Why do we do that? Because a lot of our corporation, even on the private cloud, they have 5 or 6 or 10 corporations that belong to that. And so they want the segregation of the data, but they want the ability to use a single platform of an application. And why is that? You don't have to maintain 10 versions of that app, of that web servers, and you have a problem with configuration. It's just one single agility structure. So I think that all the vectors should be employed, and the two things important is the risk profile of the workload and the economic profile of that workload. And mixing and matching, you actually can use your dollar better to improve your ROI. So let's talk about security, because it is an important item. And data is the most talked about security impediment. Where is my data? Who's using my data? I think multi-tenancy actually take care of that. I think having very clear distinction and separation between your data layer and your app layer, it is kind of mandatory. And use all the techniques. The only one that I would tell you, be careful, don't put your data in a private cloud, your app in whatever off-premises cloud, and give that as low connections. Second, tunnel it or dedicate a VPN connection to that. Cloud can be spoofed, as you know, as anything can be. So you have to create the tunneling and the security well. So network security, that's another important aspect. At CSC, for instance, we separate public cloud from private clouds physically. In Chicago, we have the 4th floor where all our private cloud reside. And then we put our public cloud on the 2nd floor on a different internet backbone. There is no way that one will commingle to the other. We have VLANs, IDS, definitions. The network layer is probably the layer where any type of attack could come. But we've been doing this for a long time. We have been delivering e-commerce and web app for a long time. So the techniques are exactly the same. There is no difference. Firewalling, it's a very well-known art today. The last one is control. Now, if you have a public cloud, a federation situation where some is a public and some is in a private cloud, you should have the same level of compliance, and you should provide the same level of compliance, and your provider should provide you the data enough for you to do the same level of compliance as if you do it internally. Cloud doesn't mean I don't have to be compliant. Cloud means I have to take care of everything that it is maintaining my compliance. And that's audit trail, that includes audit of identities, audit of access. We will talk later on about a piece of technology that we're building that is a transparency broker, so that we can really know exactly the journey that a transaction and user does to his relationships and this logic. So a little bit about CSC and our portfolio. We divide our portfolio in the 4 layers of services. First of all, the most important area where we are concentrating is, you probably don't know, but CSC makes around $3 billion in software. And this is license and maintenance software that we sell to our customer in the financial institution and healthcare. So the first job that we have is to actually SaaS enable and cloud enable our applications so our customers can consume this application on a service. As well, we are building a brand new health informatics platform. It's a multi-application, and that's a totally cloud solutions. We have a software stack. In the software stack, some build and some partner with some of our partners. And we have a protection and for mail and web, and we'll go over it. We have an infrastructure, identity and asset management, and then we have a transparency as a service, and that's a solution that we are building on intellectual property of a special protocol that we are developing so that using token technology, we can actually have a transparency of how the user and the transaction interact with the cloud. And obviously, we have a host exchange, and I'll give you a little bit more information about it. We have a platform layer. We are very committed to our multi-platform strategy. We believe that the platforms is the area that is going to change dramatically the cloud paradigm. If through the adoption of platform technology, we'll be able to separate and reorganize and encapsulate applications so that they are really more agile. The maintenance of an operation of application can and will dramatically be reduced. The cost of maintaining application will be dramatically reduced. If you have a perimetered application that it cannot be patched and cannot be continuously tinkered with, you have a very resilient applications, and your service level go and they're stable, and your cost are extremely reduced. We match application to code construct, so we, through our SaaS enablement of our own IP, we just pick the best platform for that type of business process and their, applications code. Obviously, you have .NET app, you have Java apps, we have mainframe app that we are rewriting on brand new platform today. And we are committed to our multi-platform strategy to the point that in the public cloud in November, we will provide a multi-platform service so customer can develop application in the 4 platform, Azure, Force, Cordis, and SpringSource. They can test it with our Cloud Lab environment, and they can promote it directly in their environment. And so they build new workloads in our clouds. And obviously, we do infrastructure as a service on compute and storage. We do it as a hosting solution. We've been doing that for a long time. And we have a desktop solution that it's as a public cloud, so you can have 500 to 1,000 users in a public cloud, and obviously we deliver VDI or cloud desktop on a private cloud for large customers. We support both platform for VDI. We have a Citrix, Microsoft, a stack, and obviously we are very committed to our view. We believe that in the desktop, the customer will drive which VDI platform they want to pick. This is our portfolio at the end of the year. We run on 7 data centers today, 3 in US, 3 in Europe, and 2 and 1 in Australia. They are all in a phase of deployment. We have a common fabric, then that's the VCE fabric. And in this cloud, we provide both private, public, and hybrid service at any given time. We use multi-cloning techniques, so we don't rebuild services. We have standardized services, and the customer has, and I'll show you later on, the ability to select which kind of grade of services and which component of its services. That's our portfolio, our provisioning and e-commerce. That's where the customer selects the solution they want. We have a white label of that technology that our customers that do cloud with us, they don't have a provisioning environment, or obviously if you are in a private cloud, you don't do e-commerce. We provide a private label, the white label for them to customize and use internally. As well, we use the same platform on a provider-to-provider technology. So when we are the cloud of another provider, they use the white label all of our environment. Our clouds are not patched. They are just dynamically upgraded on a clone structure. The same master clones is used around the world. Exchange, is the 2010 Exchange hosted environment. It has full integration to BlackBerry. It has end-user ability to select their own services. They can activate. They can configure their PSTs. It's scaled to a large number of users. Has very strong technology and security, because it is a full hosted service of Exchange 2010. So we bring in all the security structure of 2010. Our protection and mail, this is in collaboration with Symantec. What we do is really cleanage. We clean website or web interactions through anti-spamming and checking of any type of interaction the customer wants to have. And so that instead of having anti-spam at the source, you use a cloud technology that does the anti-spam for you, and the emails and your web pages get secured and clean before they hit your website. Obviously, the most popular commodity workload is dev and test. Every customer should release the infrastructure that they use today for dev and test and use cloud technology to deliver test and cloud environment. We do it on a public cloud and a private cloud configuration. Obviously, some test environments have security concern. For instance, we actually do have our health informatics where the IP stays inside the firewall, and we actually do our development on Amazon because we rather use some of their capacity instead of using our, capacity that we're building for our customers. It is not just a test environment. It isn't just that you spin a VM and they have a VM to dev and test. There is a collaboration environment, and we augment this environment through test scripts, and we are building a series of test scripts for SAP that our customers can use very easily included in the environment. It's got a chat environment. It's got a social media environment. So now I will leave the baton to my friend Jay Noble that will take you on a journey of how you get to build your cloud roadmaps.
Thank you, Siki. You've got the microphone up? Nope. How about now? Okay, there we go. Good. So my name's Jay Noble, Director of Cloud Computing. We also want to do a quick time check. How are we on time? I got half an hour. Okay, perfect. So really, as Siki outlined, we see some advantages at the commodity level, at the infrastructure as a service level for virtualization and multi-tenancy. But where we're really seeing some dramatic changes in the dynamics and the cost and the agility for most organizations is up the stack a little bit, primarily in platform as a service, software as a service. So we really focus on a business down, top down type of approach to help our organizations and our clients make these better decisions, more informed decisions. So we really want to look at selecting the workloads, developing a plan, and helping transform the applications. We're doing this actively with a number of our clients today, and we're here to also tell you that first and foremost, not everything fits in the cloud. We're not going to presume that something that is heavily complex, heavily customized, heavily secured is a first candidate. There are typically, when we go in and do these analysis, much lower hanging fruit that can be taken in to these cloud type of delivery vectors and realize benefits much more rapidly. The other thing we want to help you do is to understand the journey, that what you do today will have impact in how you deliver and deploy things in the future to be able to get ready for that. Maximizing ROI, reducing risk, and increasing business alignment. So take a look at this from a full life cycle perspective. Right, where the current state is, where we're shaped. This is where we can identify those ideal business workloads. We can assess the needs. So this is our kind of assess, right? We have experts, consultants come in, experts in application development, in infrastructure, in risk analysis, in compliance and regulation, in business process, helping to get an understanding of where you are today along that journey. Next one is to helping you transform. So once we get that, identifying what's best to be cloud enabled. This is business modernization. If you take a look at your application portfolio, what are those applications that need to stay where they are, be updated, kept up to date, modernized as much as possible, versus ones are those situational applications. We typically find organizations having anywhere from hundreds to thousands of applications, most of which serve a particular business need and a subsegment of the user community that have importance for those particular individuals, but may not have overall strategic value to the organization. Take a look at those and how those can be put into a public cloud delivered vector. So business modernization. Then also, how do we deliver this? On demand. Guaranteed security and manageability, the orchestration. So this is where CSC provides the ability to put that wrapper around, provide security, provide coordination, provide orchestration, provide that full life cycle capability in helping organizations wring out costs, but also increase dramatically the agility at which they execute their business, reducing and eliminating the barriers between IT and business for executing business strategy. So this is our famous, at least internally, bubble chart, right? We have to have, as typical consultants, we have to bring a bubble chart and got to make sure that it's all multicolored. But if you take a look at the horizontal horizon, it's the ease of cloud adoption. Then on the upper one is the benefit. The size of the bubbles typically represent the size of the benefit. of this. And again, it's a great visualization of walking through a process and determining what's going to be that low-hanging fruit. What's going to give us the largest benefit for the shortest amount of time to start moving down this cloud journey. It's really aligning the workloads with the platform choice. So we know that there are organizations out there that are Java shops, that are .NET shops, that are one-of-everything shops, and we can help rationalize that, identify what those opportunities are, and then take down an appropriate roadmap and path. So, platform as a service. By our definition, there's quite a few, but by our definition, it's application platform as a service. So we have a whole set of assessment services around this to identify the application, what it does, what the performance user, what the risk profile, compliance profile, determine the best fit solution on it. Then we have our platform technology. We are supporting 4 platform as a service offerings. Very proud to be supporting SpringSource and working closely with VMware on developing a platform to take all those Java applications, put those in the Spring framework, and help provide a cloud enabling. We're also supporting Force.com, which is the platform offering by Salesforce. They also have announced support for Spring in what they call VMforce. And this will be a way that you can take your Java applications, develop them, transform them into the Spring framework, and then deploy those either on our hosted platform or into the VMforce, which is under the Force.com public cloud, and then be able to take care of those application services. So at the end of the day, we want to make sure we're providing the best fit solution for the business needs. We also support Cordis, which is a business process-focused SOA wrapper that provides tremendous flexibility to organizations, and then also Azure if you're a .NET shop. So then again, the transformation services, design, develop, deploy, migrate these applications, being able to do the complete life cycle of these applications that stand alone tend to suck up a lot of resources, take up a lot of time, end up costing a tremendous amount in management, maintenance, and be able to set those down on and transform those into the common platform, and then help manage. So upgrade, patch, administer, 24/7 worldwide support, anything that we can do to help manage that, again, in a more effective way and allow organizations to maintain their strategic focus on business problems. So, application and platform alignment. Typical questions that come up for us is, gee, what can I take into the cloud? What are those decision points that I need to consider before moving an application into the cloud? So we have, again, in our assessment service to help identify those, but again, typically what we look at here is the office productivity apps, the utility, right? I think of email, messaging, and collaboration now as kind of like water and power. It's far too important for you guys to do yourself, right? Outsource it. So taking a look at Google Mail, Microsoft Online Services, for example, are very popular now, gaining popularity. Let that infrastructure be managed by somebody else. Still gain the benefit of that capability without the hassle and the overhead and being able to do it on a per month, per user basis. We're seeing anywhere from 25 to 40% cost savings when organizations move their messaging and collaboration to an online service. Social networking, the internal collaboration capabilities. CSC is a big user of a company called Jive Software, setting up communities, collaboration environments where we're able to share information, create groups, share documents. It's phenomenal. Salesforce.com just announced their Chatter, which is a collaboration platform on top of all their applications. Very, very exciting things. Then you move to the right, you take a look at these line of business applications. And these we've called anywhere from situational applications to the, maybe less than nice term, we call them crap applications. And it's the stuff that, operations, you need to have these things out there to keep a certain subsegment of users running, or you see monster spreadsheets. Those may be better to put into a hybrid or community cloud. We're working right now with a couple of studios around what they call their rights database where every movie that's ever been made has to have every star that's ever been in it, every director that's ever directed it, and every producer throughout their life be able to pay reimbursements over the lifetime of the film across it. It's a very important application, but it doesn't help that studio necessarily make a better movie. So how is it you can take that and move that into a community type of cloud where other studios could take advantage of it? Because there's nothing proprietary about how I pay people out. So again, that would be a good example of one of these situational type or line of business type of applications. And then finally, the enterprise apps, the ERP, the SAPs, the Oracle. We're seeing those right now still maintained residing inside an organization or a private cloud. We're starting to see those move more out into the private cloud and cloud type of delivery. CSC has SAP cloud certification to be able to start delivering cloud or SAP via a cloud delivery vector. So we're going to start to see those costs start to come down as well. Compliance, regulatory, those are the types of things, again, that you want to assess and analyze and have a good understanding on before you run out. Typically, again, those where we see staying into the private cloud. So the upper two, the hybrid and private in taking advantage of virtualization, being able to do logical servers rather than physical assets, and being able to deliver these as we've outlined, right? So run, maintain on a variety of different platforms. We can set these up and run and maintain them inside. And that's part of our strategy to be able to support both public and private delivery. Force.com, for example, and Azure are both public cloud. So if you've got an application that's needs high security, can't be commingled, those two wouldn't necessarily be the answer for you. We can take our Spring platform and our Cortis platform and install it in a private data center, bringing virtualization and multi-tenancy and the flexibility of a different type of development paradigm inside your organization to be able to deliver that and then manage that in a hybrid fashion. So we've got the capabilities based on these requirements, all dependent on workloads, and then bringing the orchestration services around that to more effectively manage it. So specifically for our VMware SpringSource, being able to build, run, and manage, and then allow those, as I said, once those applications in that common platform, they can be deployed inside any different cloud, public cloud type environment. We'll have our SpringSource cloud platform running it in VMforce on the Force.com. Can run these in Google and allow Google widgets to be implemented and integrated into it. All putting it together via private cloud data virtualization, and federation to make sure that if you need data to stay in a particular location and abstract that layer away from my application, be able to do that for compliance and regulation. So we'll be delivering a full SpringSource application platform as a service in the November timeframe, working very closely in working internal prototypes and proofs of concepts right now. So, committed to the right cloud the right way. It's more than just marketing speak for us. We also have a puzzle to back us up in what we do. More agile, competitive, cost-effective applications, focusing on business process, a business first rather than a technology up type of approach for our clients. We're seeing a tremendous uptake in these services and capabilities. And this is there we go. Working with partnerships in the VCE Alliance, VMware, Cisco. Very committed, building up dedicated organizations to support those offerings, tying in our great services organizations and consulting capabilities to come in and do these assessments. And I believe, business first approach, security and compliance, service-driven business model, innovation and technology excellence. I want to make sure I've got time left for any questions that we might have. So we're at booth 1014. Got to come by, do some Formula One racing on the Wii. It's very cool. We'll also be giving away a 3D TV Yes, yes, we are giving that away. So with that, again, I'd like to open it up for questions. I believe we have a few minutes left. Any questions for either Siki or myself? Say one way in the back. Okay, just to make sure everybody heard that, what are we seeing right now from adoption by our clients of cloud types of either applications, doing something in the cloud, or talking to us about transitioning to the cloud? Just from personal, getting a little feedback, sorry. Just about every one of our major clients, I mean, we focus, CSC has got a history of focusing on, Fortune 500 size, large government organizations. Virtually every one of those clients are at least in conversations with us about how to go to the cloud, or we have active projects in them from an assessment perspective, application refactoring, or some type of modernization. So I wouldn't go as far as to say it's 100%, but every one of our major clients are at least in conversation with us right now in some way, shape, or form to take a look at workloads like messaging, email, collaboration seems to be an easier one to get their hands around, all the way down to applications, again, these situational applications that are done on anything from COBOL. We still have a ton of COBOL programs out there for our clients, to older C++, whatever, and we're helping them and identifying and taking them onto either Force or Cordis. So it's a pretty heavy concentration.
I'm sorry, so just a quick follow-up. So outside of kind of the obvious SaaS applications like email collaboration for in-house stuff, is dev test typically the place they start? I know it's generally speaking.
Yeah, I'll kind of turn that over for a little bit more depth to Siki, but the immediate answer, the short answer is absolutely.
I think that the other workloads that they see a lot of attention is human capital. That's really, and that will go to an external SaaS. That's kind of my point of view. There is a lot of interest on ERP. And, the big ERP provider, Oracle and SAP, they are on the midst of SaaS-enabling their applications. There is, SRM and CRM. CRM obviously is considered a cloud, a commodity cloud today. If you have a CRM, a huge CRM, you should either use Salesforce or find a way to enable a cloud vector for that, because it's been done for a lot of time. A lot of homegrown. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of customers today actively looking at refactoring mainframe application to reduce their MIPS dependency, and to look at the application park and do an analysis of, why do I have to maintain this app for 10 users? And why should I do it internally? And if I cannot refactor it at a cost-effective manner, then I think that's a good reason not to run this app today. And actually, the business is together. We see a lot of what we call standardization projects. Before, the business wanted to have, each line of business wanted to have their own, they wanted to have their own architecture, their own data model and data structure. Internally, we're seeing customers to try to want to converge to a specific set of architecture, and not every type of architecture and interaction at the web server layer, at the data layer, at the visualization layer. And I think because they know that if they don't do that, taking advantage of cloud is going to be very hard. And they're going to carry on building very complex, high-to-maintain business processes. Today, still 70% of cost of operations is to maintain applications. To get the real return on investment is we learn how to tackle that very, very fast. And that's why I think there has been a shift in the last few years. I mean, I think in the last year, from I want a bunch of VMs and a piece of storage and that's it, to what could I do actually to SaaS enable, cloud enable, transform my business process, because they know that the biggest return on investment is on that side. We squeezed probably as much as we could squeeze out of infrastructure with the virtualization work.
Any other questions? Yes.
You mentioned having capability out of Chicago. Is cloud services a global offering on a global basis, or is it something that's tied to America?
It's global. We have Chicago and York here, then UK. We have Chantilly, Luxembourg, and Denmark. Australia is a fully active cloud and a private and public environment. We are planning at the moment our China data center and our Kuala Lumpur data center. The beauty of our data center is they have a common fabric. All of that is on a VCE fabric. And we have very standardized services. So all this portfolio, it is equal everywhere. The only difference is the type of services, meaning from bronze to platinum, that the customer want to have. And they change from which kind of help desk they want to have, and do they want encrypted backup, do they want active-active, do they want active-passive, DR techniques, and the software stack that they want to have it if it's a infrastructure as a service. But it's a common provisioning environment, and it's a common e-commerce environment. So it is turning out pretty good for us.
Any other questions? Super. Thanks very much for your time. We'll be available for additional questions. Come by our booth and enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.